So this is a 30-minute yin practice, and there's always a few props that are useful if you have them. Generally, a couple of bricks or books, so you can always press pause and go and get those if you need to. And something like a yoga bolster. So obviously we don't all have one of those. This is my yoga bolster. So you might make one with 2 pillows from your bed and then tightly wrap a towel around them. So a yin practice is so important at times of high stress, where maybe we try to do more when in reality what we're after is doing a little bit less. So gather your props. We're going to make this a really yummy still practice. And we're going to begin this practice lying on our back in constructive rest. So really welcome, this opportunity to do this. At the end of every pose, I'm going to ring a bell. And the bell is a symbol to prepare to move, but we don't move too quickly. So when you hear the bell, take 3 more deep breaths and finish with a sigh. So I'm just going to set my egg timer for 2 minutes as we begin this yin practice. So constructive rest, it's easy to forget that it's a yoga pose sometimes because it's so easy. And yoga doesn't have to be hard. So as you lie flat on the back, let the spine settle and the shoulders roll back. Take one hand to your heart and one hand to your tummy and just lengthen the back of your neck. Allow there to be the natural curve in the spine, but not over exaggerating it. And then just stop. Soften your gaze or close your eyes and focus on breath coming in and breath coming out. So I'm going to sit up so I can still talk to you, but I encourage you to stay where you are. And we're going to begin with coherent breathing, which is a really good antidote for anyone with anxiety. So this time of year, we might have a lot going on. So deepen and slow down your breath for a count of 4. Pause at the top for a count of 4. Breathe out for a count of 4. And then retain the breath out for a count of 4. So the pattern is 4, 4, 4, 4. And I'm going to leave you in silence and stillness now as you practice that for the next minute or so. So shortly you'll hear the first bell, reminder to stay where you are. It's a signal that we're moving. And you take 3 more breaths and you hear the bell. So 3 deep breaths, getting deeper and deeper. We finish with a sigh. So nothing strenuous or difficult in these poses. They are really to restore and replenish our energy. Our next shape is a pose called banana pose. We lie flat on the back and we take the right leg to the right and the right shoulder in line with the right leg. Lift the arms up and overhead and just lightly pull, really gentle easing rather than pulling the left wrist. Now your left foot can either stack next to the right or it can sit on top. So obviously it's not difficult to work out why this pose is called banana shape, banana pose. Make sure there's no unnecessary tension. So take the shoulders, the back of the neck. And it's very subtle, but it's a good stretch for the left hip and the left shoulder. Once again, I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. as you drop into the stillness of this pose. And the late Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, said, every breath in is an invitation to the present moment. Every breath out, we accept that invitation. So notice again those 90% of thoughts that are the same as yesterday. Not always worth having. Can you keep coming back to the breath? And we're consciously lengthening the breath now. Back to a more even tone of breath, breathing in for a count of 4 or 5, breathing out for the same count. And again, I'm going to leave you in silence now as you practice that for just over a minute. Every breath in, invitation to present moment. Every breath out is acceptance. And so often we turn that invitation down. Can we stay here with the breath? Just a few more to go. And after you take those 3 breaths, can you come into a little fish shape? Not a starship, we're not on a Starship Enterprise. So taking the left leg out, arms overhead, like a symbolic gesture of surrendering to what is. Just allow yourself to be held, feel the energy flow. We sometimes feel more energy after the shapes. And breathe into this sweet moment that we're sharing. And then wiggle yourself over to the left. So we move the left foot, we move the left shoulder, arms overhead, and just a gentle guiding of the right wrist as we tilt to the left. So we're creating space in the right side of the body. That's the purpose of these shapes, to create space. Through yoga, we become a bigger container for our thoughts, our emotions. We create space to hold them. The timer is on. We're here for 2 minutes. Deeply, deeply breathing. And I'm not sure who this quote is from, but visualizing now as you inhabit the body with breath, we often disapprove of parts of ourselves without really examining them. It's like never going into certain rooms of your house. Meditation allows all the voices, the images in the room. And when we open the invisible doors, we can come to rest in the life we have. We can love it as it is, instead of waiting for a shinier version. So using that breath to inhabit all of you, all those bits that we tuck away that we don't really want to see or think about. Gather everything about you into this moment. 1 more minute, just observing breath. Take 3 more very deep breaths. As always, finishing with a sigh. So we're going to come into a back bend now. This back bend will be 4 minutes, so it takes a little bit more time to set up, but I think it's kind of well worth the faffing around, as it were. So get your props if you have them. So a bolster is really nice for this, but you can also do it with bricks. And we're coming into a supported bridge. I know this is a favorite of many. So taking your toes to the end of your mat, this is a good kind of guideline. We're just going to lift ourselves up and walk ourselves back. If you have bricks, you can just hoik the hips up and stick them underneath, but that's kind of a safe way to come onto the bolster. The pelvis is completely supported, and you can extend your legs out long. Check that that's kind to the back. And to stretch a little bit more in the shoulders, you might take your arms overhead, keeping the chin tucked. So really important to incorporate back bends into our daily practice, especially if we sit at a computer desk, because we're always forward folding. So again, you're going to be here for 4 minutes in total, observing breath in body. So a good pose to do at times of high stress. We're supporting what we call our adrenals that pump out adrenaline. Let's just come to softening and settling. And once again, we're not very good at doing nothing. Can we keep returning to the breath? If that's a real struggle today, perhaps just go back to the first teaching of the Buddha and simply repeat, I'm breathing in, I am breathing out, as a device to stay present. And a quote from Vamsa, meditation is the means by which we sharpen our awareness and develop our insight. Meditation is to be aware, to be alert, to be awake. There's no goal in meditation. We're just aware and awake and alive to what is. So we're halfway through this pose now. We've been there for 2 minutes. Can we stay present for another 2 minutes? If that seems a lot, it's about 12 with deep breaths. We're so used to doing. We can really struggle to simply be. We're human beings, not human doings, but we often forget that. So just again, come back to the breath. Now, meditation is coming back every time you wander. It's not about never wandering. That's not possible. So you could drift off 100 times a day, a session, but as long as you come back 100 times, then you're meditating. So be generous and kind to yourself, because judgments don't make us happy. About our final minute, just watching breath in body, returning when the mind wanders. And it's really difficult. 3 more, so full, so deep breaths. And as we're here now, we'll just float the legs up. So a really good kind of place to come. So literally changing our perspective. And in this heat, lifting your legs up is really good to reverse the flow of energy. So perhaps there's a little ankle circle there. Good to do if you get off a long haul flight with swollen ankles. Extend those legs up and just take about 3 to 4 breaths. If you like visualizations, visualize a waterfall coming down from the soles of the feet, trickling down the backs of the legs, all the way into your pelvis. Two more full deep breaths. And now a stretch for what we call our psoas muscle, also known as the muscle of worry. It's where a lot of worries apparently are stored. So we're going to bend those knees in, hug the right shin in towards you. We're still on the bolster or the brick. Extend the left leg away from you. Make sure now you've involved the hands, that your shoulders, because they're involved too, are still nice and relaxed. Then really drop the left thigh towards the ground as you lift your right knee a little higher. So this muscle runs right next to our reptilian brain. And it's said that we tighten here when we're stressed, when we go into fight or flight mode. So keep kicking away into that left heel as you ease the right knee towards you. And then just do that pattern again when we move the knee across the center and then out to the side. Just kind of massaging the hip a little bit. And after a few rocks, we stay still. We move that right knee up and we breathe. It's a really interesting muscle, this one. It runs through our digestive organs, which is one theory why our digestion is off when we're fearful. All our body's resources go into escaping from danger. And we can do that from just our thoughts alone. So fearful thoughts can create the stress reaction. So meditation gives us a tool by which we can observe our thoughts and see if they're actually good for us. Slowly bring the left knee in now, and let's change it all over. So we extend the right leg, we bring that left knee in, kick away into the right heel, drop the right thigh. So the stretch, you might more likely to feel it around the right thigh area. So again, just move that knee side to side as we release our worry muscle on the left. And worries, of course, are illusions. Our anxiety comes from not from the future, but trying to control it, which is pointless, really. But of course, we all do it. So just notice what worries you're always feeding, if you were. And let's see if we can bring that left knee a little higher as we kick away into the right heel. So Mark Twain said he had many terrible things happen in his life, but they were always just in his own head. So how human of Mark Twain, how human of us. But can we come back to the breath, and let those thoughts settle. And slowly drop the left leg down. So we've been on this bolster for some time now. So bend the knees again. If you are on a bolster, careful how you come off. We're just going to lift up the bum and press the bolster towards your heels. And we're going to come into a hip stretch now. So you might have your feet over the bolster, the cushions, whatever you have. Or you might take your feet onto the bolster and let your knees come out to the side. So we're looking for a diamond shape. So for me, the kind of Goldilocks position, the just right position, is feet on bolster, knees wide. It might be different to you. And again, you might take your arms overhead. That just eases into tightness in the shoulders. So we're here for 2 minutes, directing our awareness and breath to feeling the belly rising and falling. So deepening the breath. And there's a little acronym we can use for our meditation practice, and it's ALL. So welcome it all. ALL stands for A, allow. So we allow our thoughts, our emotions, whatever it is that's there. L is label. So just know, oh yeah, there's a thought. Or I'm planning again. Oh, I'm lost in memory. The second L is let go. Let go of the thoughts, the memories, the stories, the planning. Come back to this moment now. You have about 1 more minute. Again, allowing it all in, but trying not to stick. Noticing where is your mind right now. No judgment if it's gone. Just come back. Three full, smooth, slow breaths. Sighing breath out. And bring those knees together as if you're closing a book. And then keeping the knees together, walk the feet a little wider out. That can be on the floor, on your prop, whatever it is. And then just slowly windswine wiper the knees side to side. So the knees are not together here. We're easing out the lower back, as well as taking the opposite rotation for our hips. And then maybe we come into a happy baby from there, lifting up the feet. So you might hold onto your big toes with your peace fingers. You might hold onto your ankles and just rock. And a quote I use many times from Marianne Williamson is, babies are happy because they don't have a file in their head called everything that might go wrong today. So just noticing. Nearly all of our fears and anxieties, very rarely do they come true. It's the other stuff that we don't plan for. And then let's just extend those legs out, give them a little shake, circle the ankles, and then just come up briefly for a forward fold. So we've moved the spine in all other directions. And our forward fold today will be dragonfly, so feet are wide. We're only here for a minute. A forward fold occurs as soon as we tuck our chin. So we don't have to go very deep, or we might just have a little bit more space to come forward. We'll also feel this in the back of our legs. Vanda Scaravelli said, never kill the instinct for the glory of the pose. So find the right place for you. And we stay here for a minute. So forward fold lend themselves to a naturally longer exhale. So let's explore that breath now, a breath called calming breath. So breathing in for a count of 4. Breathing out for a count of 6. And as you breathe out really deeply, let go of the breath, let go of any tension in the jaw, let go of all thoughts. So again, allow, label, let go. Very short forward fold there. Obviously, they do have a good effect on our nervous system. Stay longer if you wish to. Otherwise, now we're going to finish with a twist. So taking your cushions, your bolster, whatever support you have to the left. Only here for 1 minute. So just bring those knees in towards the chest. If you want to stretch out the middle of the back, the knees stay quite high. If you want to ease out your lower back, take the knees below the waist. And then just rock those legs over to the left. And sometimes it can be really comforting if you're feeling a bit anxious to have your hands on your body. So maybe you rest your right hand on the rib cage, your left hand on the tummy. And look over to the right. I'll just get my egg timer now as you stay here for 1 minute. Breathing in and breathing out. And in these little twists, try and breathe sideways. Can you feel the breath going into your ribs? And it's impossible to breathe deeply and be anxious at the same time. Impossible to do, sometimes impossible to remember. So notice how this practice might have affected you mentally as it slowed your thinking down a little bit. One of the symptoms of anxiety is a racing mind. So using these old practices just to come back to present moment where everything is okay. And then as a slow thing, you're going to just bring those knees back into center and bring them over to the left. No rush, just easily settling into side two as we come into this final shape before we take rest. And I'm just going to finish today's practice, as I always do, with a very short poem. And this is by Dana Fold. It's called The Practice of Being Present, which is what we've been practicing. Attend to the breath. Let the rhythm slow and settle. Filling, emptying. Draw the outside in and then release. Simplicity and ease. Nothing to do but breathe, relax, and feel the free movement of air and life force. Watch the play of energy and sensation. Allow everything to be without the need to change, to fix, or make it different. This moment you can listen to your soul. This breath you can have no goal but being. You are already complete. This, just this, is what it means to be whole. And then breathe into the whole of you. Breathe out any last little bits of tension, let them go. Perhaps even let go of the jaw. And now let's come into our final shape of rest, which is Shavasana. And I'm going to leave you here today, so I'm not going to formally close the practice. We're almost at the 30-minute mark, but you might decide for your mental health, you might want to be here longer. So I encourage you to really settle into a nice, comfortable Shavasana. Extend the legs, perhaps over a bolster. If you have a covering for your eyes, it can be really nice to cover your eyes with an eye pillow, a cushion or something. And then just let the breath breathe in its own sweet way. You don't have to change it, control it, fix it, shape it. Just allow the breath to wash through you, breathing in through the nose. Fill yourself up from the inside out. And as you breathe out, relax, release, and soften. Soften the face, soften the jaw. And just simply allow again the breath. Let the breath move to all those little spaces that we close off. And each breath out is an invitation to melt something like ice to water, corners of the eyes, nose, jaw. Fill the belly with breath as you inhale. Upon exhale, release the shoulders. Feel the weight of the arms, the weightiness of your hips. Let the thighs relax, backs of the knees relax, feet relax. And take rest now for as long as you need. I'm so grateful that you practiced with me today. I'm going to leave you here in stillness. Namaste.